I used to obsess over every single hour of sleep that I did not get. So why am I thinking of using a sleep tracker now? My name is Fiona and I'm a former chronic insomniac turned holistic sleep coach. And for this video, I'm going to be taking you on my journey over the next week of wearing a sleep tracking device and how that potentially affects me as a former insomniac. I'm also going to be going into my own perspective on sleep trackers and specifically how they can actually affect you as an insomniac. This is also not the first time that I'm trying this product. I tried wearing the Whoop when I was recovering from insomnia. I thought back then that it would be a wonderful idea for me to track my sleep. But little did I know that because I had already created this fear around wakefulness, that this necessity to control sleep even more was only fueling my insomnia further. So this week and this experiment of sorts is for me to actually see, as a former insomniac, how does it actually affect my anxiety as somebody who has had previous issues with sleep, and also to minimize my anxiety and my experience. I'm also going to be turning off all Whoop notifications. I have been wearing Whoop for all of today, which is day one, and I've already started to realize that they're very intense on the notification front. And the last thing that I need is to continuously be reminded about how strained I am or how little sleep I am getting. Without further ado, today is day one of wearing the trackable device, and I'm not loving it so far. I didn't have the best night last night. I've had quite a lot going on for me personally, and my mind is just so active at night. But I know that the difference between that and full-on insomnia is also how I react to that wakefulness. So I just use the time to rest, read a good book, and according to the trackable device, I only slept around 5 hours. That also means nothing to me these days because it doesn't indicate whether or not I am or I'm not going to go have a good day. It also doesn't indicate as to whether or not I'm going to have a great night tonight. And I think this is where I'm trying my best to not get too caught up on what the trackable device says and actually just go off a little bit more on how I feel. Know that there's absolutely nothing I need to fix here. Insomnia really is one of those things that has so much more to do with how we react than the actual situation. And reality is, you cannot control your sleep with or without a trackable device. Today's day two, and this experiment is not going so well because I didn't wear the trackable at all last night. I had every intention of trying to wear it, but getting close to bedtime, I started feeling quite anxious. And again, if you have issues with insomnia, then you probably know that this is the misidentified threat of wakefulness. And anything that potentially comes in that implies control over sleep is feeding into that same dialogue that if sleep is not achieved, that is something you need to fear. And I started getting a few of those feelings yesterday. And I just decided to not have that dialogue with my brain last night. I decided just not to wear the wearable because it's just really not worth it for me. Like, why would I enter in a struggle with my own brain? And the reason why I'm saying this, because yes, I'm a recovered insomniac. Yes, I have done so much to heal my relationship with wakefulness, but I do have a past where I have identified wakefulness as a threat, and overcoming insomnia was definitely a hard thing to do. And at times my brain forgets that I'm recovered. And it's quite easy for your brain, when there has been a threat in the past, to potentially avoid that being a threat in the future. And the only way that I can kind of like mitigate that is to not have that dialogue. So hence the reason that last night I just decided not to wear the trackable at all. I have every intention of still going through this day by day and letting you guys know how it goes. But yeah, today's day two, didn't wear the trackable, but I also feel amazing, slept amazing, had no issues with the dialogue. So yeah, you make up your own call as to whether or not you think a wearable is good for you. Anyway, see you tomorrow. Today's day four. I didn't film yesterday because I didn't really feel like I had anything to report. The last 2 days I haven't really thought about the sleep tracker at all. Like I wore it for the last 2 nights. I've slept decently well. According to the tracker, maybe not optimal amount of sleep, but that's like a totally different story. And this is where I truly realized that I have corrected my relationship with wakefulness. A year ago, when I was still really struggling with insomnia and my relationship to sleep, it would have been a completely different story. Like seeing anything below optimal or that I wasn't sleeping enough would have been a cause for concern, which is normal if you feel that not sleeping is something that is threatening or something to fear. This is where I also believe that the word intention comes in, and intention is so important when it comes to sleep or sleep efforts or wearing a wearable sleep tracker. You always need to remember that sleep is always something that's effortless. And if you're doing something with the intention of making sleep happen, that most likely is going to backfire. Intention behind even wearing this trackable. Like right now, my intention is to explore things related to sleep, to test whether or not this is going to create anxiety. It did the first or second night. But all jokes aside, I definitely feel like my relationship with sleep now in comparison to where it used to be is miles and miles ahead. And I put a lot of work into that. And if you do feel like you're still struggling with sleep and your intention behind doing certain things or avoiding certain things is to maintain this ideal, perfect sleep, just please remember that there's no such thing as ideal sleep and there's no such thing as controlling your sleep. Not today and not ever. I lied, or I didn't lie, but I was wrong. And this is where I come clean and I say that yes, I am still attached to sleep, and that makes me human. Everybody wants to sleep well. And the last few nights have been not the easiest nights for me. I have continued to wear the Whoop out of, I guess, experimental purposes. I have tried to not get attached, but unfortunately, anxiety is sometimes something you cannot control. And when you have a history of insomnia and fear of wakefulness, your mind is gonna automatically think like, oh, this is something that could potentially happen again in the future. And especially when you're reminded on a day-to-day basis that your sleep is below optimal. So yes, my intention was pure. I definitely wanted to try and use this. I want to try and like see whether or not this would actually affect my anxiety levels. And for anybody who is like using a trackable device and doesn't feel kind of like conflicted with achieving that perfect sleep score, then fair. Like I wish I could wear devices like this. I also consider myself a super active person. I would absolutely love to kind of like study the data behind this. But unfortunately for me, I have personally decided that a trackable is not the best thing for my mental health. And if you have been struggling with insomnia, if you are fully detached from sleep and you want to try something like a wearable, I guess go ahead. Just be wary that our mind craves control, right? And it definitely craves control over things that are probably either unpredictable, unknown, or uncontrollable. And sleep is one of those things. It's unpredictable, it's uncontrollable. And whenever you're met with a potential threat of that kind of like ideal, like standard not being met, you're gonna wanna try and control it. And that's when the thoughts are gonna start coming in and you're gonna start feeling hyperarousal and you're gonna be worrying about whether or not you will or will not sleep that night. And that's where it all starts. So if you are wearing or thinking of wearing a wearable, I would just be very mindful that it can actually cause this kind of like hyperfixation on finding that perfect sleep, which does not exist. So yeah, I've had a couple bad nights. This is also the last day I'm gonna be filming for this. Feel a little bit emotionally fragile. It's also okay, but I'm gonna still go out there and enjoy my day as best as possible. It's at least a blue sky, sunny day. And yeah, just remember that these things are out of our hands and there's nothing I can do to come in and fix my sleep now. I just need to kind of like allow myself to be in the feels, allow myself to to know that like there's nothing to fix here. In the end, it will correct itself. My body knows how to sleep and I don't need to intervene for that to happen. So I hope you like this video. I release weekly videos on insomnia and holistic insomnia recovery every single week, including my own story. If you are ready to kickstart your own journey, I have a 5 Days to Better Sleep email series linked below. This is packed with all of the knowledge that I wish I had first found when I was personally struggling.